How does it feel? Fat pussy. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm actually fucking jacked, bro. I'm sorry. Fat? Well, I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know about that one. Sorry. Sorry you're living in the past. I'm down 80 pounds, motherfucker. Shut up, 8 inches. Yeah, my cock's fucking huge.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Osher, and the guy that was just on your screen, well, that's Brian. Now, Brian is better known as Kephrii, and Kephrii is known for a few things. He's a top 500 Widowmaker player, he's got a fat cock apparently, and he calls people cheater a lot. In fact, Brian calls so many people cheater that I decided to make a video about it. Now, I'm not a fan personally of Brian. I think Brian is very condescending, and he has this holier-than-thou attitude that it rubs me the wrong way. But with that being said, I'm not saying that everybody that Brian calls cheater is not in fact a cheater. You know, not everybody is innocent that he accuses. But more than not, I'm inclined to say that they're not. If you shoot 100 shots, you're going to hit a few. And Brian seems to be going for more of a quantity than quality approach to it. By that I mean he calls out a lot of people and tends to not get a lot of them right. I'm going to have a few clips that show what I'm talking about, but before that, I want to say that Brian set his past broadcast to sub only, so I had to go sub to get this content. I used my mom's credit card. Somebody better PayPal me $5 or sub to my OnlyFans. I got my titties out on it. Whatever, you know what it is. Anyway, let's get into the video. So for those of you that don't know what's going on, I'll try to break it down the best I can and summarize. Well, 3 days ago from this recording, Kephrii lost in a community-held tournament that was there for fun. And when he lost, he started accusing people of cheating, and I mean a lot of people. And you're like, oh sure, how many people could he possibly accuse? And well,
not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
Not only did he basically accuse the entire enemy team of cheating, but he also accused Pro Overwatch League player Gator of the Atlanta Reign, Muffin of the Boston Uprising, and then several regular ladder players. With all that being said, I'm going to try to keep this video shorter by focusing on the primary two that were being accused, and that's Gummy from the original team that beat Brian, and the pro player Gator from the Atlanta Reign. So without further ado, let's hop into the clip that started it all, and that's the Gummy accusation.
There's no voice line, and there's no detected. There's no voice line and there's no detected. Did my shit just bug out? How the fuck? What the hell? What the fuck? Okay. That was weird. Fucking flick at the flick. I'm just curious how he got me. So there's our vision. He's bouncing his orbs.
So to skip a lot, and I mean a whole lot, I'm talking Brian spends 2+ hours basically alone on this clip. I'm going to try to summarize the way he felt and his conclusion at the end. He felt that with the Hanzo Sonic arrow down, and them already being in that room for 10 to 15 seconds, that Gummy had no reason to turn and spot check. He also says that the way he shields, shoots, and wiggles his mouse, that he panicked. There's a lot wrong with this argument, and I'll give a few examples of the factors or the reasons that could have played into this. One, any Overwatch League player or big brain tank, when they come into a room, obviously they're going to immediately spy check. They're going to spot check. They're going to make sure the room is clear and free, especially if your whole team is about to hide in it. That being said, everybody sometimes forgets to initially do it. It happens with pro players, high-level players, low-tier players. It just happens. More often than not with some people, but it does. And when they do realize that they forgot to check, what do? They turn and they check. It's part of the game. It's part of a mental lapse. He played a lot of games prior to this, and it's definitely a factor that could have happened. Gummy himself even stated that he panicked and thought of a Sombra being in the room, and that's why he did what he did. That's perfectly logical. It makes perfect sense. The second reason that could go into this is he just felt like shooting. We all do it. We all just sometimes spam rooms. It happens. I don't think that's the reason that he did it, but it is a factor that we can't rule out. However, when Gummy gives his explanation for the reason he did what he did, Brian immediately basically throws it out, and he basically calls wall hacks on Gummy. He says that Gummy is wall hacking. He implies it heavily. Now, the problem with Gummy wall hacking in this scenario is there's a clip that I'm about to show you that would not make sense for him to be walling there. You're going to see Brian die on Widow, and Gummy keeps firing looking for the Widow, not realizing that the Widow died. Now, Brian is going to call in Gummy's game sense. He's going to say, well, obviously a cheater has low game sense, and that's why he kept shooting. That is true. I do agree that usually cheaters have low game sense. However, there is a lot of factors that can play into why Gummy kept shooting in this particular case. Now, for one, if you go back into Crazy Cat's VODs, who was the DPS player on Gummy's team and also another person that Brian had called a cheater. But if you go back into those VODs, you can clearly hear that nobody calls the Widow dead in this particular instance. So Gummy keeps firing, whatever. You're like, okay, well, he's a very high main tank, SR-wise, and he should have the game sense to know that the Widow died. Sure, that's fair. However, you can't say that fatigue does not play into this. He had already played 2 or 3 series. He's tired. He's getting kind of burnt out. It happens. Nobody called the Widow out, so he doesn't realize. He doesn't see the kill feed. He just keeps shooting. That is something that is so important in high-level games, is communication. So when you're not hearing those comms and those callouts in the heat of an engagement, things like this can happen. You can waste time shooting at something that's already been gone or dead. So with all that being said, Brian inadvertently hurt his argument that Gummy was using walls here, because as I said previously, he would have known the instant that Brian had died. So let's move on and get straight into the clip. So a big theme for this whole thing with Gummy was he was suffering from a lot of packet loss, like pretty bad packet loss. Now, Brian says that there's no way that it could always be packet loss, that the only time he had packet loss, it seemed to be, is when he was aiming. Well, that's simply not true, and I'm going to show you guys that in some clips in just a moment. But first, for those of you unfamiliar with packet loss and what it is and what it can cause, not to worry, I went back and I did some research. Now, even though I did my research, I'm no former Army veteran FBI agent like Brian.
Wait, where's his head?
You must work with me in FBI? I actually worked in the FBI. Nice try, dumbass.
Man, what the fuck? What the fuck? You just got in the van. Alright. Well, I didn't see anything. I'm not getting a part of this. Nope. I got nothing to do with this. Nope. Nope. I was over here. I was on this side of the street. Nope. Mm-mm. Nope. 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 Kid's gone. Fucking gone.
Ah, that's our hero. Potentially watching a child kidnapping. Anyway, going back to packet loss, Gummy having packet loss can cause quite a few things, one of them being high ping. High ping making his gameplay look jagged, laggy, spiky, whatever you call it. Therefore, the integrity of how it's viewed in a replay could very well be affected. Now, as I stated earlier in the video, Brian says that the only time that Gummy seems to get this high ping is when he's aiming or tracking. However, I'm about to show you a couple clips right now that show that's not the case. Look at the jittery movements that Gummy has when he's just freely looking around.
Enemy sniper!
Get inside.
I am so confused.
Now, this is a big deal because the clip I'm about to show you right now was the biggest argument that Brian had against Gummy.
Like, do you see that? Like, on the ball? This kid's wild.
So obviously the first thing we all notice is the aim on the Hanzo. We can all agree it doesn't look normal, but it doesn't look like cheating. Now, Brian does his patented move and he goes and he slows it down to 0.25, and even then you can tell that it's not tracking him or his head. It's kind of just following right behind him. The aim on the ball doesn't look weird to me. It never has, and it didn't the day it happened, so I'm not even going to comment on it personally. But Brian's main focus was on the Hanzo, so let's focus on that. And with everything that you've seen and all the clear instances of him having packet loss in normal situations, can you really say anything looks out of place here? That being said, I think it's safe to say that this clearly is simply packet loss and definitely no type of aimbot. Now, these were the main allegations that Brian had against Gummy, and in my opinion, the most compelling ones he had. And unless you count Gummy spraying a wall, then clearly walking past a May obliviously, I think it's safe to say that Gummy was not cheating.
Hello, hello.
right there, like, what are you looking at, dog?
Now, one of the biggest problems with Brian is he hates to admit when he's wrong, and you'll often see him contradict himself to try to be right. For example, Brian states that Blizzard never banned, and so there must be a lot of cheaters, but then when asked why Brian thinks all his allegations are right by a viewer, Brian states that,
Does Blizzard tell you how many people you accuse of hacking are actually hacking? I can tell you this. False reporting is a bannable offense, and I'm not banned yet.
it's funny because even the May was immediately apologizing for that dumb shit that you just said, Brian. But we'll keep this thing moving and jump straight into the Gator allegations.
Guys, use code Kephrii at checkout on gfuel.com.
I think there's a very large conspiracy of players that are cheating and that they want to protect each other from being caught for the big picture. Like, genuinely.
Someone said...
Oh boy, he's on to us. He's on to us. Yeah, wrap it up. Somebody call Jeff. Yeah, somebody call Papa Jeff. Yeah, Kephrii cracked it. Yeah. Yeah, get Sinatra on the phone too. Oh yeah, this is big. But seriously, it's things like this though that make Brian seem less credible every time he talks and every time he accuses somebody else. And remember when I said that Brian hates to admit when he's wrong? Well, here's a clip of him being clearly wrong and him just trying to downplay it after realizing that he was indeed wrong.
The shield even pulled. This is just a pixel bot. I'm pretty sure. Walls in a pixel. He's after me, but he got pulled by the Sigma. That's funny.
I need healing.
You can see it all. Like, it's pretty obvious. This is actually probably one of the lower end programs for sure.
Oh yeah, boys. Yeah, you can see it. Like, guys, you can like see it. It's obvious, right? I'm not the only one, right? Yes, Brian, you are the only one. My cat can hit those shots, and I haven't had a cat since I was like 7. Okay, it's probably dead. It's probably dead, Brian, and it can still hit those shots. So another thing about Brian is he tends to reach, and when he reaches far.
Track someone falling, right? But he shoots the ground. No big deal. People fucking mess up and shoot the ground. But that's
I shoot the ground sometimes.
But but wait a minute. Did he actually shoot the ground? No, he's tracking the Sigma left click. It tracks the Sigma left click on the ball.
Do they have
Yeah, Brian, he definitely didn't just under-aim it. You know, he definitely isn't just chilling, having a good time on his stream, relaxing, just having relaxed aim. 100%. Yeah, he's just cheating on stream blatantly. Yeah. Let's just move on to the most popular clip, arguably.
I'll be real. I'll be real. I'm about to burn my entire rep. I think Gator cheats. I'm gonna say it straight up. I'll burn my whole rep right now. I don't give a fuck. I'll call it.
Yeah,
I'll burn
fuck it, bro. Everyone cheats.
I'll do it. I don't give a fuck.
It's genuinely hard for me to wrap my head around that Brian is serious in these and he's not trolling. It genuinely blows my mind. Let's get into the pros and the cons of Gator cheating on stream. So we'll start with the cons first. Loses his job and livelihood. Loses friends and fans. Banned from Overwatch permanently. Most likely banned from every other major esport permanently. Loses sponsors and future potential sponsors. And fined from Blizzard. Let's look at the pros. That sweet, sweet SR on the ladder. No, I'm serious. The only reason that it would benefit Gator to cheat on stream is to gain SR and climb the ladder. That does not mean anything to a pro player. That is literally it. And you want me to believe that he is going to risk all that for something that stupid? Well, okay, I'm all ears, so let's get into the evidence of this disgusting hacking reptile cheating.
I like it.
So he's looking at the Orisa, no big deal. Frame. It's not letting me go frame by frame, but that's fine. Frame. No big deal. Everything's normal.
Yeah.
Gets pulled, and it instantly pulls into this explosion.
Yeah, I can say I've never done that.
That is weird.
Can you hear the clip again? Sorry, I didn't see it. What's weird about this?
And bro, Gator's got a high ass
And
sensitivity.
then afterwards, he looks confused as shit. Like, where the fuck am I?
Don't mouse.
Could just be his mouse.
It could just be the mouse. It's coincidentally at the exact same time as the
I
explosion.
bought Gator new batteries.
Well, he uses a Logitech G Pro Y.
So Kephrii's argument here is that Gator's aimbot malfunctioned, or maybe it was not working right, or it was tracking a pixel of some sort, and it tracked the enemy Orisa pool. Gator chimed in on this, and he even himself said he doesn't know how he turned like that. I'm going to assume that this is either 1, a replay bug, or 2, just his mouse spazzing. There's not really much you can say about that. Let's move on. So before the clips I'm about to show you, which Brian uses to allege that Gator is cheating, Brian's other argument is that Gator used to boost back in the day, so now Gator is untrustworthy. But if we're going to bring up people's past incidents, I think, Brian, that you know a little more about cheating than Gator. Now, notice on this next clip on Havana, Brian is going to use a tactic that a lot of people tend to use, and that's show what's convenient to help boost their argument. He's going to say that while Gator's mouse placement is on the Mora and it's wiggling, when he looks away, his mouse is no longer wiggling and he's no longer jittery. That's simply not true, and Muffin is going to bring this up and say, no, Gator's mouse clearly was still shaking when he aims away, and he's going to ask Brian to let the clip play out. Brian is then going to proceed to realize that Muffin has said something that is going to hurt his argument, so Brian is going to say, well, the clip is custom, it just ends and play dumb like he doesn't know what Muffin means.
Right?
You have so many clips.
So he's sitting here, right? No big deal. We'll get the Moira behind the cart. Look at this. We'll get his crosshair right now. What the fuck is that? Like, what is happening?
Wait, play it back. It's too fast.
What do you mean? Wait.
It's just right
Okay,
here.
okay, listen, right, listen.
Listening.
When you... I don't know.
What about that? This is weird.
Well, all of a sudden he's no longer twitchy after that. Everything else is
I
stable.
mean, didn't you just do that right after again?
You're telling me you
Wait.
look at Moiras across the map and you just twitch at them?
I mean, he's just
Without shooting?
I'm on Kephrii's side here.
Oh, fuck it, dude.
Like what?
Fuck my rep. Gator's cheating.
Like what?
Hey, let it play out. Let it play out.
I mean, it's a custom clip, so it's just gonna end.
Notice how as soon as Muffin brings that up, Kephrii immediately changes the narrative and tries to switch the point. He then begins pausing the clip every time he aims off the Mora to try to stop people from seeing that he is indeed still shaking his mouse when he looks away. This is a common thing that a lot of players do. They shake their mouse and getting ready in preparation for a fight. Controllers players do it too with their thumbs to keep their thumbs warm. It's a pretty common thing, and Kephrii is trying to steer the narrative away from that. So for the last and final clip, I'm going to show the only one that really has any pull or weight behind an allegation, and that's the widow shot that Gator hit on Asombra. What a profanity shot.
Snaps and hits the shot. Okay. It's the exact edge of the hitbox. Like, there is no further right you could possibly hit this shot. So it's one thing to hit the head. It's one thing to hit the head at the furthest the development team has created the hitbox. Okay. And then after...
Wait, who is this again?
This is Gator.
Oh.
Flick. Hits. Right? After he
Why is
hits...
Gator playing main tank? God damn.
So after the hit, right? Hold on. Fucking VLC literally freezes. After he hits, he snaps right back to the target. The over aim in that little bit of frame snaps right back.
First off, Gator himself is the one that posted this on his own Twitter, so it would be weird for him to incriminate himself knowing that he was cheating. Second of all, Gator said the reason for him taking the shot is he knew Fitzy was on their team, and he knew that Fitzy likes to sit outside on the right side of his spawn. So when he came out, he just took a shot, and he landed it. It was a nice shot. So Kephrii states several times that he doesn't know how cheats work, or some of these cheats work, and that's pretty clear to me, because he says himself the over aim and the snapback is damning, when in reality that shows human error. The fact that he over aimed, came back afterwards, is actually more evidence for not cheating. Tell me the last time you shot a widow shot, went on flick, and you stopped immediately as the shot. No, you travel a little farther and then you pull back. It happens to everyone. It seems that Brian doesn't realize this. and tries to use this as evidence rather than realize that it's evidence against him and his allegations. Speaking on human error, if you go back and look at the Dorado clip to where he says that he quote-unquote aim-locked the Aristopole, in fact, you can see that he turns and it wasn't even a perfect 180. Had it been a script, then he would have done a perfect 180, which once again shows human error, and in my opinion, more evidence to support Gator's claim that he is definitely not cheating. With that being said, that's going to wrap up the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter because I'm lonely. Anyway, links down below, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and happy holidays.
Next clip.
I'm done. Yeah. You guys are wasting my time. What a waste of time.